We're missing some folks on the
Yeah, I know.
outside here. What's going on here? There you go. Here's some more. Okay, tonight we're studying, continuing our study in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, the second half of chapter 12. Really interesting things to discuss tonight. Get ready to come in, or is that tell? Well, let's go to God in prayer, then we'll be done. Our holy God, we give you thanks for this day that you blessed us with. Thank you for this time that we have to learn from your Apostle Paul and learn from his writings and how to apply those to ourselves and how he applied them to the Corinthian church. Thank you so much for this, and we ask that you continue to watch over us and to bless us. And it's through the name of Christ that we pray. So last week we went through the thorn in the flesh. On Sunday we did, first part of chapter 12. And I want to start by trying to catch up with some of that. And he talks about the thorn in the flesh, things like that. I want to start reading in verse 30 of chapter 11. For I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. The God and Father of the Lord Jesus, who he is blessed forever, knows that I am not lying. At Damascus, the governor and the king, Aretas, which guarded the city of Damascus, had ordered to seize me. I was let down in a blanket, for he went in the wall and escaped his hands. Verse 1, I must go on boasting, for there is nothing to be gained by it. I will go on to visions of revelation. I'm in the wrong part. Excuse me. Nobody, don't want to jump like that. We're going to the second half.
Right.
Yeah. I want to start with verse 9 of chapter 12. There we go. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ then is, I am content with the weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. So this is Paul's, he's prayed at least 3 times that this thorn in the flesh be taken away from him. It wasn't, but it says his grace was sufficient for him. So he kept this thorn in the flesh, and we don't know if that's physical or what the nature of that thorn in the flesh was. But he kept it, and it basically kept him humble. That's an important thing. Okay, verse 11. I have been a fool, you forced me to it, for I ought to have been commended by you, for it was not at all inferior to the super apostles, even though I am nothing. Besides, I'm a true apostle formed among you with utmost patience, with signs and wonders and mighty works. For you least favored the rest of the churches, so that I myself did not burden you. Forgive me for this wrong. Okay, what are our thoughts on starting with verse 11?
I read that as kind of an angry retort. He's got the sarcasm going, the tongue is cheek, but at the same time, he's angry about this. Forgive me for not burdening you.
forgive me for not
For showing
burdening
up
you.
and helping you out, and showing you things and, you know, so I think it's kind of a sarcastic.
Very much sarcastic. Very much. And he says, he was not inferior to those super apostles. And he's commented about this over and over again in his writings here. And apparently that's really bothered him. It's really bothered him. And what we're going to see here, we're going to see Paul with his humility compared to the boasting and behaviors of the super apostles. I think that's what's behind this. It's very much that. So he says that he is not inferior at all to these super apostles. And he comments, even though I am nothing. So once again, he is humble.
Well, this has been read publicly in the congregation.
Yes.
So one person standing up there and reading this, they're listening to it, and they said, what do you mean he's nothing? You know? It's kind of like, you know, when your wife's mad at you, you say, you really must hate me. You said, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm really nothing. Oh, no, you're not. You're really. So it's, like I said, sarcasm.
Very much.
But he's getting their attention. He says, no, you're not nothing. Who told you were nothing?
Yeah.
And he said, is that what you think of us? You think that's what we're saying about you? No. And so he's turning them around. They're starting to think about what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And one of the signs of a true apostle, what did he do?
Signs, wonders, and miracles.
So, I mean, they could see what he could do, which is obviously given to him by God, right? He could do miracles, speak in tongues.
It's interesting that people think that miracles are for the purpose of healing people. They weren't. They were for the purpose of proving that the speaker was sent from God.
That's right.
And if it was for the purpose of healing, then why didn't he heal himself? You know, up there he says he had these things. He prayed God, and God wouldn't even heal him.
That's right.
And so that's not the purpose of miracles. It wasn't for the purpose of healing people. Yes. So.
Yeah, very good. And that's how they showed that obviously they were from God, was with their ability to do these works. All right. Then he comments, for in what way, or in what were you less favored than the rest of the churches? Except I myself did not burden you. Forgive me for this wrong. Again, sarcasm. So he did not burden them. What is that? What is he referring to there? Anybody recall?
Financial support.
Financial support. He did not burden them. As I think I read, he got support from the Macedonians.
He also worked as a tent maker.
Yes, did not. I did read a little bit, and apparently that was maybe taboo not to be supported by who you were preaching to. It's definitely contrary to what they were doing with the super apostles. So they may have thought that was kind of an insult, that he would not allow them to give him compensation or support him. Very interesting. Okay, first, any comments on that? Verse 14. Here for the third time I'm ready to come to you, and I will not be a burden, for I seek not what is yours, but you. For children are not obligated to save up for their parents, but parents for their children. I will most gladly spend and be spent for your souls. I love you more, and not to be loved less, but granting that I myself did not burden you, I was crafty, you say, and got the better of you by deceit. Did I take advantage of you through any of those whom I sent to you? Urged Titus to go, and sent the brother with him. Did Titus take advantage of you? Did we not act in the same spirit? Did we not take the same steps? So the third time, it's kind of interesting. How many times did he go? Corinth, how many times?
Right, 2 or 3 times.
When I was over to read, he didn't go really the second time he had planned to, but he did not go. And if you read it, it says, for the third time I am ready to come to you. So that's kind of interesting. So he's getting ready to go, I think, for the second time, not for the third time. And then again he says, I will not be a burden, for I seek not what is yours, but you. And he gives this analogy of the parent-child relationship. So, Blake, you're not getting ready for Waylon to support you, are you? So it's just kind of the way he's phrasing it. You know, the parent is not supported by the children. The children are supported by the parent. They're the ones that, of course, he still had support from other places.
My mom quit. She just said
She
she's
said,
not
"I'm not
supporting
supporting
you."
You're finished supporting him, okay? But you're still there for him, yeah. Give him advice and wisdom, there we go. All right.
It's interesting how he noted one feeling kind of taken advantage of you. I'd most gladly spend my soul or his life for their souls. If I love you more, would I be loved less? And then saying, they must be saying that he's trying to snicker him out of something, because he says, now you guys say I'm crafty.
Yep, yep.
So I'm deceiving you guys in some way.
So how do you think they may have considered that he was deceiving them? And again, he's got people that are naturally against Paul. A lot of people with big mouths are against Paul. What way could you think he could be deceitful?
One way I can kind of hear it, he must not be a professional like us. You guys pay us. You don't pay Paul. So he must not be a professional or not be as good as we are, something like that, possibly.
Possibly.
Deceiving them with a different word.
What did this?
Well, it just seems odd to me that they're suspicious of him because he won't take their money. You know, it's just kind of odd. But I guess they're looking at the other churches and saying, well, he takes their money, so what's going on here? What's wrong with us, or whatever?
Yeah.
Of course, he did ask for their money to send to the Macedonians, or not send the Macedonians, to send to Jerusalem. So he did ask for that, but I like what he says, for I seek not what is yours, but you.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of the point he's making. I didn't want you to think I was after your money. I want you. I want your souls.
Look at the Corinthian church. He's very much they're being influenced by people who get paid, compensated well for their just speaking, for talking, you know, being orators. So I think he's doing this to be a contrast to, you know, the highly paid motivational speakers, or whatever you want to call them. One person I read about thought the craftiness they may have made something up about the collection for the saints in Jerusalem, that maybe he was going to get something out of that. You know, they were going to get compensation from them, but maybe it was some trickery with that. And then how does he reply to that? How does he reply to their sentence where he says the craftiness? That I was crafty, you say, and I got the better of you by the say. So what does he come out and say from that? What does he come out and say? Next.
It says, show me where I've taken advantage of you. Show me where Titus took advantage of you. Did anybody take advantage of you?
That's right. And obviously the answer is no. What?
One way to see the truth is always consistent. It's the same. It's unified.
Yes.
So it's not like he's the head of this movement, and then the people that are under him and kind of following him are doing something underhanded while his back is turned or while he's somewhere else. They're like, yeah, I know Paul said that you didn't get paid for you, but you actually did, and they're trying to have their own little thing on the side. It's very consistent. Paul and anybody who represents the message of the gospel are acting the same way. All of them are not there for monetary gain. They're there to spread the truth and to love people.
Yes.
That's all they're trying to do. He's telling them, he's like, I'm not here for your money, I'm here for you. Your soul matters. All I want you to do is love me back and love God. That's it.
What he wants.
There's no strings attached, and they're like, no, we want strings. We won't take our money. That way we feel like we're doing something, we're getting back instead of just always.
You do have to kind of wonder why he didn't take money from this particular congregation. Maybe it's because they had so many other things they needed to deal with first, that he didn't want things to be confused. He wanted to work on their issues and not worry about the money aspect. I don't know, but for some reason he didn't. And he seemed to take money from other congregations, but not this one.
There's some we don't know about the condition there in Corinth. We just don't know. But there was a situation where it wasn't advantageous to them or him for him to receive payment from them. There was some maybe we don't know all the details here about that. But obviously it was the right thing to do. The Lord told Paul when he went there, he says, "Don't worry about it. I've got a lot of people here."
Mm-hmm.
And so, and as many problems as they had, he called them saints. He called them saints, and that's amazing. I noticed that when we put the collection list of the things that we support, it uses the term saints quite a bit. Saints in need. Today, a lot of people think, well, who's that? Well, that's us.
That's right.
And so what? Are you a saint? He said, yeah. Who do you think you are? Yeah. That's what Jesus called us. Yeah.
That's right. Very much. Okay. Yeah, so once again, this is one interesting thought on that is are the religious leaders. So what's the attitude for religious leaders? Should they be in it for self-profit? Profit themselves to be on a higher pedestal than leaders of the church? What should be their role? It's more of a sacrificial type service, correct?
Well, you can see this when we have a potluck, okay? Who's the last ones to get in line for the food? It's the elders, the deacons, most of the time. No, I've witnessed that, and the servants, the ones who serve other people, are the ones the last ones to get in line. Okay, it's just, and then Paul told Timothy, I think it was, that godliness with contentment is great gain. And so they think it's for you get money. My son got a job in Dallas a while back, working for a law firm. And where he parks his car is in a parking garage. And he has to park his car and walk by all these really expensive sports cars that are owned by the pastor of a big church there. Okay? And he's just showing off his wealth. Where'd he get it? He got it from the people who think he.
That's right.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people getting wealthy by just preaching what they want to hear.
So this is an example for us of priorities for religious leaders, if you want to call it that, is to be a servant. You're a servant. We're not there to make gains. We're there to give, not to receive. So.
Well, John, on the other side, on the other end of it, pendulum, there are, or it used to be, I don't know if much anymore, but it used to be that the congregation as a whole thought that the preacher should not make any more than the lowest paid person in the congregation. I don't know where they got that idea, but the preacher should make as no more than the least paid person. So if you have somebody working for $8-10 an hour, at a burger joint, that's what they say the preacher ought to get, you know. And I've had preachers who actually had to learn how to fish and hunt in order to put food on his table because of that attitude.
Interesting. So the ones who made more than the least didn't contribute all their excess to the.
Go figure.
Okay. Other comments on this? We're finishing this pretty quick.
This, I think it can be a particular, trap for maybe preachers, and generally, you don't have to, there's no accounting for the money you take in. I mean, there's nobody really looks behind you sometimes too much. And you're up in a position where people look to you for spiritual guidance. And so they are kind of on a pedestal a little bit.
Sure.
Even if they don't mean to. But, and then people, and well, you see it in all these mega churches, you see the preachers just, live in these mansions, and they find out that they steal money from the church, and, it can be a big temptation.
Sure.
So you have to.
It's the business.
It's
the business.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's beyond a business. I mean, nobody else makes that much, except this mega preacher guy who's up there. So it might be him.
Yeah. Okay. All right, verse 19. This is a very interesting verse. Have you been thinking all along that we have been defending ourselves to you? That's kind of an interesting sentence. Have you been thinking all along that we have been defending ourselves to you? He's written a lot about that, hasn't he, Mary?
Yeah, I think he was a little passive aggressive at the beginning. So that's kind of a response to it.
Yeah, so, what's Paul's purpose of? Why did Paul write epistles for us? Why does he write them?
For their edification.
For their edification, for knowledge?
But my version says here again, do you think that we excuse ourselves to you? And I don't know if that means anything
Okay.
different, but excuse ourselves. We're not making excuses. We're not trying to excuse ourselves. But that's what people think.
Yes,
Also trying to guide them in the right direction, get them on the right path.
That's right.
Encourage them while trying to encourage them.
Encouragement.
Yep.
All right. Continuing verse, second half of 19. It is in the sight of God that we have been speaking in Christ, and all for your upbuilding, beloved. For I fear that perhaps when I come, I may find you not as I wish, that you may find me not as you wish, that perhaps there may be quarreling, jealousy, anger, hostility, slander, gossip, conceit, and disorder. I fear that when I come again, my God may humble me before you, and I may have to mourn over many of those who have sinned earlier and have not repented of the impurity, sexual immorality, and sensuality that they have practiced. Whew. So how bad can it be, folks? Let's look at some of those. Let's look at some of those and write some of them down. What is quarreling? What is quarreling?
Well, this version says contention. Contentions are quarreling. Yes,
Okay, quarreling. And I'm probably going to misspell most of these. You said contentious? Continuous, that's not right.
We know what
It's
you
just
mean.
erase it. We know what you're talking about, yeah.
We know what you mean.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Now we'll remember it, right? We'll remember that, won't we? So So what is quarrelsome? Elaborate on quarrelsome.
Quarrelsome is when somebody thinks they're right, and when somebody points out their wrongness, there's a confrontation there. No, I didn't, yes, I
Argument.
did. Yep. No, I didn't, yes, I did, yeah, no, you didn't. And that's just the way it goes till it gets, most of the time it gets out of control.
Yeah, a lot of these words we're going about are getting out of control.
Yeah.
And
I think if you look at the rest of it, it seems like they're seeking it. Like they're looking for those fights. They're looking to tear down the other people rather than building up. And I think that's what that first verse 19 was talking about, right? It's not they're trying to iron it out before they get there, so that way when they get there, there is a building period. There is
yes,
better relationships that they're.
motivational versus disciplinary.
Yeah.
Okay, quarreling describes contentions, conflict, strife.
I think Paul said one time, he said, I'd rather be, or somebody said, I would rather be discredited, or what's the term again? I'd rather be cheated than cheat someone else. He said, I'll spend myself and spend it for you.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, to avoid confrontation. Then Paul talks to Timothy about different things that they're quarreling about words and other things like that. They were arguing about silly things, but they're also not showing the love they should have for each other by arguing like this.
That's right.
I think quarreling is almost like arguing just for the sake of arguing. It's not anything important. That's what I get out of the word quarreling. It's not really anything important. You're just picking at each other and quarreling type thing. I don't think it's not some big doctrine thing that they're that they might be discussing. It's they're just picking at each other, just to argue.
And I know people like that. Occasionally we get around somebody like that, but not very often. Jealousy. And what's the next one? What is jealousy? What is jealousy? Jealousy.
I
Hey,
think
what's
it's
jealousy?
coveting what somebody else has.
Okay.
Envy.
Envy is what you want something that everybody else has, but you don't want them to have it. Jealousy is more like between a husband and wife. A man has a right to be jealous at times, with another man. But envious is basically wanting what the other person have and not wanting them to have it. I'm wondering if perhaps the separation they had in the communion, some were getting drunk and some were going without. Where there could be jealousies because of that.
Yeah, but. All right.
So I'm gonna look up Google. This is what it tells us jealousy is. It's a complex emotion that typically involves feelings of insecurity, fear, and anger of a perceived threat to value, relationship, or status.
I've never heard of jealousy being a good thing except when it comes to God.
Yeah.
Being a jealous God.
That's right.
That's it. Anything other than that, it's all negative.
Yep.
It's always
Okay.
good.
Paul said he was jealous of them.
It's always either like a shortcoming or misunderstanding or insecurity that somebody has.
Yeah.
In this case, I think it's not having what somebody else has, or not knowing what somebody else has, whether it be social status or whatever in the church, and wanting to be the person that knows the most. Well, Paul taught me, Apollos taught me, Silas taught me, and they just have all these different people that they think are at a different education level, especially Paul. And if they've taught you, obviously you know more, and you should be respected and listened to more than somebody else.
You're higher, you're more noble, whatever. Or,
And in this case, that'd be the super apostles, being possibly the ones that are jealous.
Or that could be causing the
They
jealousy.
could be causing the jealousy between the church and Paul.
Mary.
And also too, unlike the quarreling, jealousy is more an emotionally driven thing, whereas quarreling, that's an action. That's something because you can be jealous without vocalizing.
That's true.
And most of the time, that says everything about you and not the person that you're jealous of. So I think that's more of a feeling than an action.
Now, okay, so that's,
In the definition Glenn read, it says it's a perceived problem. So this is something, again, it's petty. It's something that you think should be different. And it's, it's petty, like the quarreling, it's just petty stuff.
what?
A lot of times jealousy can lead to court.
Oh, absolutely. These all circle around, right? They all
It's a
agitate
horrible
each
word.
other.
Yeah.
All agitate each other. Comments? Okay, anger, another version reads, given to anger? Outburst of anger. Outburst of anger.
You start lashing out, man.
Outburst of anger.
Yeah, jealousy, it just, being jealous is just coveting or wanting something somebody else has, or jealous is not having what somebody else has, whether it be an ability to understand or comprehend or get it across to.
Yep.
But when you're angry, you're acting on those emotions. You're acting in, it's coming out.
Yeah, you've lost your composure.
Right.
I gotta ask a question. Is outbursts of anger condemned only when you do it in face to another person, or can you just be riding in your car and be real mad and yell and scream?
Yeah, I think that.
By yourself, or is it just in public with somebody else?
Question.
I got that part thing.
What does that do to your blood pressure? Bad for you.
My answer to that, what does it say God sees us? When? How long?
Okay.
Whenever. He sees us all the time, right? So whether we do it in silence or we do it around a bunch of people, it's the condition of the heart.
Condition of the heart.
Acting on the emotion and letting it overwhelm you and cause you to do something that's outside of what God would do.
Was that severity of road rage? Severity of road rage that kicked in?
Or being aggravated with people who don't know what they're doing, right?
What?
All of these things that exist outside of the Holy Spirit. The quarreling, jealousy, anger, hostility, slander, gossip, conceit, disorder, all of those things, God doesn't have any part of those things.
Right.
So if you're doing those things and you ask, is this what God wants me to do? And any of those things are part of how you act or how you treat people, the answer is no.
Yes.
And it goes back to John, when you got all this or one or all, you're not being in the likeness of God or Jesus. That's what you got to remember. All these things, whether it be one or all, are taking your focus away from what we are supposed to be doing. That's described as being more like Jesus. And we all fall short. I know I do. That one of these things can make you one day, and then you say, no, I don't have it. But tomorrow you have it again. And you just got to keep grounding yourself and say, God have mercy on me. God forgive me. And trying to do better. Because we're human beings. That's what repentance is about.
And I'm assuming this is all in context with the local church there, right?
Yes.
All these things.
All these things.
All these things are there.
They're being pointed out, brought to their
Pointed
attention.
out. Like, please fix it.
This could easily be a progressive list.
Yeah.
You start out quarreling, then you get mad, and then you're hostile toward the
That's it.
person. Then you start talking bad about it.
That's it.
And then you start feeling superior, and
Yeah.
look what I did. And then that causes disorder in the church.
Yep.
Yes.
That's it.
Ephesians 4, somebody look that up, Ephesians 4, 26 and 27, and Proverbs 29, 11. Somebody, can you get those read there?
Ephesians 4 what?
26 and 27. Somebody else get Proverbs.
Give no opportunity to the devil. Let the thief no longer steal, but rather
let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need. And did I read the wrong thing?
Oh, you
Ephesians chapter
started
4.
late. You were in the right
27,
spot. You just missed 26. Be
I got
angry,
you.
but don't sin.
We'll do 26 then.
All right. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. Let the thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have something to share with anyone in need.
Control your anger. Control it. Don't let it, don't be the master of anger.
Yep.
You master anger. We've got Proverbs.
Proverbs what?
29, verse 11.
A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back.
There you go. Control yourself, folks. Control yourself.
John, everyone can lose control of themselves, but don't let it come out. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to get upset.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have sometimes uncontrolled emotions, but you can't let it come out and act upon it.
Maturity.
That's when it causes you to sin, when you act upon it.
Maturity. How to deal with that. What?
Kind of wonder what the super apostles were telling them.
Yeah.
If they can kind of be equated to the motivational
Sure.
speakers that you were talking about. You know, if they're never telling them anything bad that they're doing, or any kind of criticism that they need to correct in their worship or how they're treating each other, of course they're gonna like those guys better. Like, yeah, take our money. You're telling us how.
Sure.
I'm wrong. Yeah, this makes me feel good. I want.
Took for years. I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear, right?
And it's almost like, Paul, can we pay you to tell us only good stuff? I don't want to hear anything bad. I don't want to hear anything.
Of course not.
There's a phrase that's thrown around, at least in the military a lot, and I'm sure everywhere else too, but perception is reality. But I think that that's, obviously, we know that that's not true, because perception is very subjective. It's based off of experience and what we've gone through. It seems like the super apostles are manipulating that subjectivity and trying to cause these lists of things within the church towards Paul.
Yes.
And so I think it's our job, and Paul's reminding them it is their job, to not look at things through the subjective lens as much as the objective, and seeing it through, this is reality, this is the truth, right here, this is what is going on. Don't let these people that are intentionally putting this potential subjective thought in your mind to distract you from what's actually happening. And I think we just have to be careful of that.
Distract from the hostility. What is hostility? So this word refers to ambitious rivalries, factious attitudes, divisiveness, and partisanship.
Think of hostility like anger. I might be angry towards somebody, but they might not know. Hostility isn't something that you're hiding very well. It's an expression that is seen. It's that next step, kind of like I think Miss Denise said. It's that next step in the progressive thing.
Yep, and there's, of course, unfortunately, we're in a culture where a lot of hostility, right?
Well, James said that you lust and do not have, you murder and covet, cannot obtain, you fight in war, you do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. That's ambitious, special, and selfish ambition.
What?
Your hostility, you're always on edge, no matter what somebody's, no matter what somebody says, you always find the negative in what they're saying. Are they trying to deceive me? Are they trying to manipulate me? There's no positive whatsoever, no optimism. It's always like on edge, ready for that person. Basically, you want to get that person before they get you.
Sure. Very negative environment. Okay.
But we see this toolbox that they, when we think about toolboxes, they support one another. Love has a huge toolbox in it, patience, kindness, and you add those things up, none of them are on this list.
No, this is very.
Grace and forgiveness, they're not on this list.
Not on this list. Very
So we're
contrary.
seeing the opposite toolbox in play in the Second Corinthian church.
Yeah. Okay, slander, what is slander? Slander.
Speaking against someone, with untruth.
Truth? Okay.
Making up a lie about somebody as if it's
Promoting
true.
character.
To assassinate their character.
Slander, very negative. Gossip. Gossip.
Yeah, didn't you see Cindy the other day? She was doing this. And I said, I won't tell Calvin, I hope he doesn't hear.
Okay, well, we've seen her a lot without you being here, okay?
I know, and she's been here for months without being here.
You keep your eye on her.
I think gossip can be simplified to sharing information that isn't yours.
Yeah.
To
There
share.
you go.
It doesn't necessarily even have to be a negative thing, or it's just, if it's not yours to share, then don't share it. It's as simple as that.
Does it build up or tear down?
Tear down.
Does it build up or tear down? Gossip, very much a temptation. Conceit. What is conceit?
Thinking higher than yourself than you should.
Conceited, yeah.
Convinced
Again,
yourself.
people are, people's intentions in a lot of things are to build themselves up by putting others down, right?
Convincing-
Disorder.
Hey, John, I think with conceit, it's convincing yourself you're right.
I also wonder if any person from that church, if he was to sit down with him and say, do you feel like you're any of these things? They probably, no, absolutely not. I'm not any of those things, none of those describe me. You want to look back on how you've been treating each other, and that also how you treated me,
Yeah.
and saying the things that you said. How did I hear that I'm conniving, or I'm sneaky, or I'm,
That's right.
you know, how did he hear that? He wasn't there for me to tell him that.
That's right.
So,
Be cautious, folks.
Okay.
Tongue is a terrible thing. It's a great thing. It's also a terrible thing. So our thoughts, our tongue delivers the messages of our thoughts, right?
We speak things into existence.
Yeah. All righty.
Can you keep the secret?
I'll probably forget most of it.
Well, yeah, I can keep secret, but people I tell can't, you know, so that's, and, you know, gossip.
No, you tell me and I'll tell Kevin so he can remind me of it, okay?
By the time he gets back here, it's really changing.
There you go. All righty. Let's look at so anyway, Paul's hoping that when he comes, these won't be issues he has to deal with. All right, let's get to the end of that section. He's concerned about those who have sinned earlier and have not repented of all impurity, sexual immorality, and sensuality. I can't say that word. What is impurity? These are three very odd terms.
They're related, I think
They're very related. They're very related. What is impurity? What do you think of impurity? Impurity includes all kinds of sins and encompasses any activity, thought, word, or action that does not conform to God's will for our lives. Very broad, very broad. Comments on that? Please.
He closes this portion before his final warnings.
Yes.
You know, he's telling them, I'm coming, and I don't want these things to happen when I get there.
Please have
The
this.
majority of the letter talking about how special they are, how much he loves them, and all these things, and he said, there's still this problem that I talked to you about in the last letter.
That's right.
People still have not repented of. These things need to be taken care of for the church body there.
Yeah.
They have to happen.
Have to happen. And then he mentions sexual immorality and sensuality. I want to read the end of the book here. Verse 11 of chapter 13. Finally, brothers, rejoice, aim for restoration, comfort one another, agree with one another, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. Greet one another with a holy kiss. All the saints greet you. So there you go. So that's the proper,
It goes into that other toolbox.
yeah, that's the other side, right? All right, thank you, folks.